Wealth is a Choice podcast. Boom.
Let's listen to it. Let's listen to it.
All right, Carrie. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I haven't seen you in a little while. When we first met, it was a very exciting time. Yeah. That was, so we met in 2020, and it was during the Tour Da Yoop event that I have up on the Upper Peninsula, but you live in Hawaii, and you were not able to make the event dates. No. And so you set out to become the very first lady to ride all 1,200 miles, 10 stages of the event, in 10 consecutive days, and you kind of had to do it solo.
Yep.
Because you were, I think 2 weeks before the event, maybe, something like that.
Yes, yeah.
So we had, there are a lot of people in the UP from this event that have ridden it. Like, so I've got little, what are you going to call them, like little helpers scattered all around. We were keeping track of you along the way.
Yeah, you were. You guys had tabs on me the
We
whole
had
time.
tabs on you. So I drove up to St. Ignace, which is where you started from, and we met at the hotel the night before.
Oh, yeah.
And then had dinner somewhere, and then we rode our bikes the next day together, and a couple of people joined us, Stephen Lux and Lisa Graziano, who Lisa is the first lady to earn plaid, period. She did it over a couple of years.
Yeah.
And they rode halfway to Manistee, and you and I rode all the way to Manistee.
Yeah.
And then you ventured.
Yeah.
So we were about halfway to Manistee, which is my hometown where I grew up. And we go to a gas station, got some potato chips, probably refilled our water bottles. We had there's no side support or anything.
No, it was COVID too.
Hardcore
Most places
crew.
were closed.
It was COVID, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm outside with my bike and probably your bike, and you're coming out of the gas station, and there's a gentleman gassing up, and you went by him, and he said, thanks. You said something, I don't remember, it was 5 years ago, but it was something like, hey, thanks a lot for serving, really appreciate that. And then you guys had a little bit of dialogue, and you said something like, God bless you or something. And I'm like, wow. I mean, where did she pick all that up, but he had a tattoo or something on him that told you that he served. And he had a necklace with a cross around his neck. And I'm like, she's gonna do fine on her own. Like she's, you know what I mean? She's intuitive,
She'll make it.
Right? And then the next thing, we just before Curtis, we head north on a quiet road, and there's a little party store there that's been there since I was a little kid. And I think the guy that was working there was the same guy that worked there when I was a little kid. And I went in and I got a couple things. I came back out, and you went in and you were gone for a while.
Yep.
And then eventually you come back out, and you know how many kids he has and what his life story is. I'm like, oh my God, who is this lady? But I knew then, in that one day with you, that you're going to do really well on this ride, and you're going to meet people along the way, and you're going to be impacted by people, and you're going to impact people along the way. So you are a coach, and you're a natural coach. It's what you're born with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love people.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that adventure, that ride. How did it go? I saw you on day one, and then off you go.
I mean, that ride to me was magical. It was the toughest 10 days I think I had ever lived at that point in time. But it was one of the most impactful. I mean, I met so many incredible people, but having so much alone time too. I mean, like you talked about, like it was this group event, but I couldn't do it as a group.
Right.
It just made me strong. Like it made me stronger because you have a lot of alone time to think about everything.
Oh, you do.
Maybe that's why I was talking to everybody that I met.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was such a powerful ride. It's such a beautiful area. There's a spirit up there and energy that's hard to explain. And I got to be a part of all of that. And it was an honor.
Yeah. You had an experience, I think, between Ironwood and Houghton that you were you were again solo that day.
I was suffering.
And, yeah, it was a tough one.
It was a rough one.
That's not uncommon. I mean, you're in extremely good shape, and you were in very good shape before you came into this. You're a professional athlete.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that do this ride are not.
Yeah.
Far, far, far from it, including myself. So you had more knowledge and experience and expertise going into it than most.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, when you get around day 3 or 4, your body is going through a lot. And it's like, what? We're doing this again?
Yep.
And you were experiencing that probably at that time.
I was.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was hurting for
Okay.
sure. I think I had seen Lake Superior for the first time. I
Oh,
think you go up
you
and
come
over.
out of the Porkies and then bam, Lake
Yes, and I
Superior.
had never seen it before, and it was
Okay.
so gorgeous. And what we had been doing is mapping out places that we thought were open because so many places were closed through COVID.
That's right.
And so my partner at the time was trying to help me figure it out, and we found that bar.
Okay.
And ideally, that bar was supposed to be at some magical mileage that he had given me, and I'm out hitting mile 80, and there's
It's not
nothing
there.
ever, and I haven't seen
Yeah.
a person in a while, and there's
Yep.
gorgeous wildflowers. I remember
Yeah.
climbing a hill and crying, being like,
Yeah.
it's so beautiful,
Yeah.
but I just want this like gas station or like a sign of life.
Right.
And then I found that bar that's
Yep.
really made for snowmobiles,
Yeah.
essentially.
Right. Yeah.
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 And it was like an oasis at the time,
Okay.
but I was rough for
Yeah.
sure.
And there was a gentleman that you were sitting down, I think, on maybe the stairs of the bar or something. There was a
Yes.
gentleman that stopped in and said, "Do you need help?"
I looked miserable, and I was
Okay.
sitting on the steps on the corner, and he walked by and was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm not okay, but I'll be fine. I'm just
Yep.
really tired." And he walked inside.
Yep.
And then a couple minutes later, his wife came out.
Okay.
And so she came out and she sat next to me on the stairs, and that's where I was just like, who is this stranger?
Okay.
And she said, "Hey, my husband saw you."
Yep.
And he just thought that I should come out and make sure you're okay.
Okay.
And it was so sweet because you could tell that he was like, "Oh, she's not okay, but I'm a guy and I
Yeah.
don't know how, I'm not going to help her.
Right.
But I'm going to get my wife too."
Okay.
And so she sat down and we just had this long talk about why I was doing it and about the foundation and my
Yep.
reason behind it. And we're now friends on Facebook. And
Still?
They still
Oh, that's
friends on
amazing.
Facebook.
Yeah.
And she donated to the cause and everything. And it was
Yeah.
it was about connecting. That's the thing. I met so many course angels I felt throughout the entire 10 days. We're just
Yeah.
meeting incredible people that I never would have met if I hadn't done that opportunity.
I remember you using that name, Course Angels. I'd
Yeah.
forgotten about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we do that in races a lot where we'll talk about like it's a race angel. It's like someone
Okay.
that you never met, came out of nowhere, makes the day, helps you finish the race, helps remind you of your why, something.
Okay.
And they're just people. It's like an act of kindness, but it really saves the moment, honestly.
So when I first made the ride, I was hyper focused on it's a challenge. I hope people like the scenery. I hope they like the
Yeah.
route. I hope, and what everybody gets out of it every year isn't that physical riding experience. It's the human connections they make along the way.
Yeah. Well, those are powerful. I think like I said, there's an energy about the UP that's just truly beautiful and hard to describe. And the people are a part of that energy.
Yeah.
And you're just open to all of it. And
Yeah.
it's really incredible.
Well, there's an energy about you that I can tell you everybody that I talked to in the UP that got to experience was like, wow, Carrie is one incredible person.
I think they're just surprised to see a girl by herself out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you made a lot of good impressions.
It was really powerful.
So you had a few people, I think, with you between Marquette and Grand Marais. They at least rode to maybe Chatham or maybe Munising. They rode part of the way.
Yeah.
Deb was one of them. I don't remember who else may have joined you. And then I joined you around Munising, just east of Munising,
Yeah.
before Grand Marais. Not very much before Grand Marais, but
Yeah.
the very tail end of it. And I didn't tell you I was coming up, but I think you knew. By the way, I was communicating. I was so excited to get back up there and
I
ride
was
with
so
you again.
excited to have you there.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that was the day that there was a massive storm cloud.
Oh, there was, yeah.
And I looked at the radar because they kept saying, well, maybe you'll ride out of it. And the storm cloud and I were just riding together
Yeah.
at the same pace.
Yep.
So we just rode all the way. So then
Yeah.
you caught up with us.
Yep.
And
Didn't you have a
closer.
garbage bag under your jersey?
I did. I had
Yeah.
a garbage bag. I stopped at the thrift store. I bought a bunch of thrift
Yep.
clothes.
Yep.
I was everywhere.
You did. You had.
I did.
Yeah, that's right.
I still have that.
Yeah.
Because it's such a memory.
Did you get a sweatshirt or
I
something?
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and then
right.
I had a garbage bag. I mean, I looked,
Yeah.
like a hot mess.
You did teach a lot of people after that. So that was the first time that we saw a garbage bag under the jersey, which
It
makes so
makes
much
a
more
difference.
sense.
Yeah, it does.
Everybody would put a garbage bag and they, punch their arms through it,
No.
and they're like
It's like a
flap, 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 flap.
parachute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's making all kinds of noise and yeah.
You wear it under your jersey.
And then in Grand Marais, I didn't prep you at all. You probably, I don't know if you're going to remember this at all, but in Grand Marais, my boys joined us.
Yes.
And then there was a
And the
couple other
dogs.
young, the dogs.
Yeah.
And a couple of young ladies from the Manistee area as well, from the high school. And you told them, I totally didn't prep you, and I'd be shocked, but you gave them some advice that night that you probably don't remember. Do you remember that?
I was really cold.
Yeah. You gave him some advice
Still
that night,
coming
but part of it was along the lines that you get to ride this hill.
Yeah. You get to. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what's your story behind that? Because you share that that analogy quite often with people,
I
and
do.
your attitude is that things are challenging, things are tough, but I'm taking this challenge. I'm choosing to do this challenge, and I get to do this challenge.
Yeah. Because I think if we're really honest with ourselves, most of the things we do are choices we get to make. And I've been in situations where there are choices we don't have. Like my parents were in a car accident when they were 26, and my mom was paralyzed from the chest down. And that wasn't a choice she made.
Right.
And yet she lived her life. When I tell stories about her, you'd never know that she was in a chair. You'd never know that was a part of her.
Wow.
Because everything was like what you get to do, what you focus on, what you can do. Because if we constantly focus on what we can't, well, that puts us in a pretty negative state of mind. When in all reality, there's so much we truly have the freedom to do. And we look at it that way, it changes the perspective. Like, I don't have to ride my bike, but I get to. And then I look around and like, that's such a gift. I have the ability to afford a bike. I made that happen. I have the ability to physically pedal it. That's a gift. And we don't take those gifts for granted. And then going through cancer journeys with both parents, that wasn't a choice they got to make. They didn't want cancer to be the end. They wanted to live so much longer. And during that time, we constantly focused on like, well, what can you do? Like, I can control my mindset through it. Like, this challenge is really hard, but I can control how I think about it. I can control what I do. And that to me is power. Like, that changes everything to have that mindset.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. Like, I was out there for those 10 days, but like I got to.
Yeah.
And so I knew it was a gift, even
You
if I was
definitely chose
miserable.
to.
I definitely chose to.
You reached out to me.
Yeah, I definitely chose to. Nobody made me.
Yeah.
And there was such power in that, because when you are suffering, but then you recognize that you're suffering because you chose it,
Yes.
you're kind of like, oh, I'll own that. I'll own
Okay.
it. Like, I'm still cold, but I at least chose to be out here. And
Okay.
you're able to find more gratefulness in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I reflect on that quite often.
Hmm.
And when there's a tough
it's
thing, I do
powerful.
say that to myself a lot. I
Yeah.
get to do this.
Yeah. I think it changes how we approach life in every area. I chose this. And once we realize that we chose it, or I get to, we own it, and we're able to own every side of it.
Yep. And we do pretty powerful things that we own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got to meet your dad in the Sioux.
Yes.
That was very exciting.
Yeah. That was pretty
He
incredible.
Gave you a surprise.
Yeah, he gave me my plaid jersey. You guys
Yeah.
surprised me.
Yeah.
I did not understand what was behind me, and you
Yeah.
guys had the camera crew, and then
Yeah.
that was amazing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it was a good
Sure.
experience.
Yeah, it was the best one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, unfortunately, toward the very end,
And then I crashed.
oh man, I hated that. And your friend was in front of me, and we came to the shoulder
Yeah.
that had a mumble strip in it, some gravel, and then he changed pace, and I changed pace, and then I felt your tire hit my tire.
Yep.
And then I heard the
went
noise,
down.
and I'm like, that's awful.
Yep.
You gone 1,200 miles in the last, we're what, 12, 15 miles away from
We
the
had like
end,
30
and-
miles
Oh,
left.
30?
Because
Yeah.
I remember thinking, I can run that far.
Yeah. Oh,
So
wow.
if I have to
Okay.
run with my bike,
Oh,
I will
wow.
finish this ride.
Okay, I didn't know that went through your head.
Oh, it did. Because I wasn't going to not finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
You did. I remember telling you, like, Carrie, you've done it. You've done
Yeah,
it.
I
It's
remember
okay.
that.
But you injured yourself pretty good.
I
And
did.
yeah, what did end up happening? It was,
I think I tore tendons
It was
in
a
my right
tendon
shoulder.
tear,
I
yeah.
just hit pretty hard. I
Yeah.
luckily didn't break anything.
Yep.
But sometimes I think, not that I wish bike crashes are hard things to ever happen,
Yep.
but when something hard happens, it's almost like you make a choice. You get stronger.
Yep.
And so you get to kind of face, like, how bad do you want something? And I remember sitting on that pavement on the side of the road, and my dad knew me enough to be like, I'm just going to give her space.
Yep.
Like, she'll decide.
Yep.
And I remember you and Todd being like, it's okay. Like, you've already done it. But the thing is, I hadn't seen the lake again. Like, I
Okay.
hadn't touched it. Right.
Yep.
And I would be the person that almost did it. And I just didn't ride for 10 days to be the woman who almost made it.
Yeah.
Because that's the story. That's what it would have been. And
Yeah.
I was like, I really want this. And crashing and having the opportunity to stop, reminded me how bad I truly wanted it, and that
Yeah.
I was going to do anything within my power to make it. And I mean, I remember every bump on that road just
Oh,
being
my
in
God. Had to
excruciating
be.
pain.
Yeah.
But I was like, but I'm going to make this for my Kona kids because I can, because it is a gift. And sometimes you just never know if you'll ever get an opportunity to do something like that again. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to know that I gave it 110.
Yeah.
So that day, finishing was 110. That was
It
everything
was.
I had.
Yeah.
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 And I have no regrets. I would do it again.
Oh,
Just
wow.
not want to crash again.
No, we can keep that part out.
Yeah, but it's a part of the story. It's a part
Yeah.
of the fight. It's a part of the grit. Like,
Yep.
it's easy to be successful when things are easy.
Yep.
You really find who you are when they're not.
Yeah. Speaking of seeing the lake again, one of my favorite pictures of the tour is sitting next to you
Yes,
in the lake.
I love that
Ryan,
picture.
we'll have to maybe throw that one in the video so people
I
can
love
see
that
it.
picture.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
lake are we at?
That
in
was
picture?
Huron.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
that was
It was before you
east of the
left.
St.
Yeah.
Ignace, so
Okay.
Before we get to Lake Michigan.
Yep. Okay. I was like, I can kind of remember. I remember the moment.
Yeah. You had
Lake,
Michigan,
yeah.
Superior, then the St. Mary's River,
Yeah.
then Lake Huron, and then Michigan again.
And I remember thinking, like, I have to touch Lake Michigan to be
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, and you did.
And we did.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we did. Yeah,
Yeah.
no regrets.
good. Well, yeah, that 10 days was pretty powerful. You made a big impact on a lot of people along the way. You made a big impact on me and my boys,
Yeah,
and
it was an honor.
it was very special.
Yeah.
And then you are a coach.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
What part do you want to know?
Yeah.
I love people.
Yeah.
No, I've been coaching since I was 22. So I think really at the heart of what I do is I like empowering people. And I found the sport of triathlon to do that. I also
Okay.
do strength coaching now for adults who are 55 plus. But it's really all about empowering people to reach goals and set them and focus on what we get to do and that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And how we take care of our bodies makes a huge difference in how we enjoy life.
Yep.
And it's easy to take that for granted. And I like to kind of help people beyond that. And
Yep.
we're lucky to have what we have.
Yeah. So one of the core mantras in Tour Da Yoop is we're capable of more than we realize.
Yes.
And I'm
yeah.
sure you as a coach, you see that in people all the time.
All the time. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's what's, it's so powerful to have someone like a coach who supports you, who's kind of, I joke sometimes I coach couples and like the partner, the husband or the wife might be telling their partner the same thing I'm telling them, but because I'm telling them, it's a little different. They hear it differently.
Yep.
But that's an honor too. Like I
Yeah.
really, I enjoy being a part of people's team, being like, I got your back and you can do this and you can rise above these challenges. It makes a big difference. I thought
Yeah.
it was on silent.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, that part is what I love.
Yeah. And then you live in Hawaii, but you travel all over the place. I get to
do.
see you in Michigan once in a while.
Yes.
But what's special about Hawaii and the work that you do with the kids over there?
I mean, to me, it's a calling. We talked about, I love coaching because I love empowering. So when I was out there and I turned pro, I had the opportunity to volunteer and wanted to use my professional status as an athlete to make a difference on the world. To me, we all have the power to change the world. And this is what I wanted to do. So I volunteered and had the opportunity to do a spring break program at transitional housing out there. And when I got done, the kids were like, well, when are you coming back? And I realized like Hawaii is not a rough place to come back to, but what was more important is that these kids are so used to people coming in and out of their lives. They're used to volunteers just showing up for a week and leaving.
Okay.
And to me, it was a calling. It was the most spiritual moment I've ever had in my life, was just this reality of like someone's meant to stay. And no one was doing what I was doing as a foundation. And so I started one. And so my calling is out there working with those kids. So I run after school programs for kids living in transitional and low income housing. And now we have our first generation of kids going to college. So
Oh, no
in
kidding.
honor
Wow.
and in memory of my parents, we do a McCoy scholarship.
Wow.
And so we're helping send those kids to school, and they're changing their next generation, their lives and the generations in front of them. So yeah, my work out there is, again, it's just consistently focused on empowering and making a difference.
I think, so I've got some experience with working with high school students in the UP, and you get a small town and you can develop this cultural
Yes.
idea of what is possible for you in your life because of where you're from, or what's not possible for you in your life where you're from.
Yeah.
And I've also seen that cultural thought process. I don't know if cultural is the right word, but how that can change in a relatively short amount of time. And now if you've got a generation getting into other education and stepping out and beyond maybe boundaries that they thought they'd be able to get into, how you can change that mindset pretty quickly. It's changing rapidly now.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I first started the foundation, so I've had it for 9 years, and I'd ask the then seniors, what are some goals you have after high school? And they would just go blank. Like no one had ever asked them that question. I grew up in a household that people were constantly asking that question. What do you want to be when you grow up? Where are you going to go to college? What do you want to do?
Right.
But the beautiful thing about that is they constantly empowered me to be thinking that way. And I realized within this group of kids, nobody was. Or if they were, it wasn't loud enough. It wasn't enough. And I wanted to change that. So now if you ask my seniors, what would you like to be? They all have ideas and answers because they're used to me for the last 9 years being like, hey, what are your goals? How do we get there? Where would you like to be? What job would you like to have for 40 years? And it doesn't have to be a college job, but it can be just what do you like? And actually these kids feeling that people are investing in them and you're just another person strongly investing in them, it's changing where they go and they're thinking about what they like. And that to me is we all have the power to do that. And that's what we're doing.
Okay. You're involved in working with people, and we're at a weird era right now where we've got the development of AI and the emergence of AI and the importance of keeping this human connection, how powerful that is.
Yeah. I think AI is fantastic, but we all crave human connection. We crave a relationship with people. We crave being believed in. We crave contact. Yeah, and AI just can't solve that. And I think in generations too, where we're so focused on our phones, we lack community, but we crave it. We do. So that's what we're doing.
I think kind of in a weird way, you hear some, doomsday that AI is gonna break apart the human bond. But in a weird way, I almost think it might make it stronger.
I think it makes us realize how important it is. Because when you find people who really commit to it, they're just like, oh, this is amazing. There is a big difference here. That AI can maybe help me write my text or a resume.
Right.
But it's not the same as like running a problem by someone and feeling that support.
Yeah. So with your coaching, how do you help people realize what they're capable of?
I don't ever think I know 100% what someone's capable of. I don't think any of us have that, that foresight. But it's really do a lot of talking about what their goals are, and you start figuring out what their motivation is. So a lot of times what their motivation is figuring out what they're afraid of. So a lot of times people are afraid to fail. So a part of getting them to accomplish a goal is setting something hard and then helping them work towards what that looks like. So it's just... I don't know if that's answering your question, but it's really about like piecing it together and helping figure out what the obstacles are so that we can, I like to say, like, instead of obstacles, they're challenges that we rise to. So what is your challenge? Maybe it's consistency. So as an athlete, I have an adult who wants to do a half marathon. They can't seem to hit the times they want, but they're training twice a week. So we start looking at like, well, that's not consistent. Right. So what is the challenges that we need to rise to? And a lot of times there's a lot in our control that we can overcome to get where we want to go. Okay.
So, Ryan, you probably recall when we asked some question like that with a lot of people we interview, they first go to understanding what somebody's motivation and what their goals driven are, and that seems to be a really common theme with a lot of intelligent people that are working with people that we
what's their why?
Yeah, that we talk to. It's so important. Without, like, you can have a process, you can lay out a process. Here's how you get from A to Z or A to L or whatever. But if that person does, they're never going to do the process if they don't understand why that'd be important to them.
They've got to have a strong why. So a lot of times when I work with athletes on what their goals are, we talk about what's your why, what's your motivation. And you find out pretty quickly, like if someone's motivation is to, if it's more ego-oriented, if it's like, I want to look good on Instagram, TikTok, and like show what I did, well, that means those challenges that come up, they're not willing, they don't have the fire enough to rise to.
It's not sticky enough.
It's not sticky enough. Yeah. So you have to find like, what's the why? What's inside of you that motivates you to rise to the challenges?
Yeah. Yeah, it's too easy to give up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
When it's hard, because it's it's pretty hard. A lot of
It is, yeah, anything that's hard. And we talk about like any goal that you set, anything that's hard, whatever that is for you, it starts magnifying every area that you need to work on.
Yeah.
So if you choose an easy goal, well, then you're not really stretched, and you normally don't have to like overcome some of those challenges.
Yeah.
But if you choose something hard, and I always say, like, it's not the destination, it's the journey. So the athlete, the person will change. And I'll be like, once you start work, like, you're not going to be the same person when we finish.
Right.
You know, you're going to be a different version of you and a better version, a stronger version.
Yeah.
But in order to do that, you have to embrace the process. And
Yep.
if you set a harder goal, well, your weaknesses are going to be challenged.
Yep.
And you got to rise to that. But there's something so empowering and powerful to be like, I did that.
Yes.
I used to not be able to do this, but now I can. I used to not drink water very consistently, but now I do. Like,
Yep.
it's as simple as that. And look at the impact it has.
There was a lady that joined us a few years ago, and when she we start in Manistee, start and stop in Manistee now, my hometown.
Yeah.
And when she showed up in Manistee, I met her the night before. Totally capable, totally gonna nail it.
Yeah.
But in her mind, she wasn't sure if she was ready or if she could do it or not. So on day 3, so our day 3, it would have been your day 4. We ride from Iron Mountain to Ironwood,
Yeah,
and
the
right
hillier
toward the end, I
versions.
throw these hills.
Yes,
and-
you do.
Oh, you remember that?
No, yes, I
Okay.
do.
And
My Garmin stopped working.
yeah, okay. So that normally gets people, and I have the hills in there. So it's a challenging ride. I'm not trying to find unique challenges per se to make it even
Am
tougher.
I allowed to say there's a bike trail that's flat that could be taken into that spot or no?
Okay, yeah, yeah. So there is a few that I put in there intentionally.
Yeah.
But at the end, and
It's
it's
worth
already, and people are already a little bit tired, you know, because
Yeah,
they've
for
done a
sure.
few centuries already.
Yeah.
And I see more tears of pride at the end of that day
Yeah.
because it's day 3
Yeah.
and it finishes hard
Yes.
and they do it
Yes.
and they get
Yeah.
done and they're hugging and they're
Yeah.
crying and the excitement and the pride that they get out of that.
Yeah.
And then it also gets them ready. You didn't experience this. We added a really big hill on the Copper Harbor Loop called
Okay.
Brockway Mountain.
Okay.
And
I
it gets them
remember one of
ready
them
for Brockway
pointed out.
Mountain.
Okay.
And they get to the top of that. So anyways, this lady, her name's Catherine, she had some doubts, self-doubts about her ability going into it. I knew, like, she's going to
Yeah.
nail this thing.
She's
But
fine.
anyways, she gets to the top of Brockway Mountain, and I was alongside of her, and she's put a fist in the air, and she yells out, "I can do anything!" And she, like,
love
screamed it
it.
out to whoever or
love
anybody.
it.
I
Yeah.
loved it, too.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
knew. But getting ready, those hills into Ramsey, I think, helped her out. And then by
Yeah.
the time she got to Brockway, it's day 5.
She did
It's
it.
literally halfway through the 10
Oh,
days.
yeah.
You think you'd be broken down and weak, but you're stronger.
Yeah.
And she climbed to the top of that thing and belted it out. And then the rest of the tour was a done deal.
She was done. She was good. Yeah.
But how amazing does that feel to take a challenge, do something difficult?
The thing is that what she did there stems into every part of her world. So that's what I love about coaching is that you might coach someone to an athletic feat up the hill, 10 days or something like that.
Right.
And yet the confidence they build impacts every area of their world, from work to relationship to just who they are inside.
Okay.
And that's what I love about coaching. That's the part. Like, it doesn't
There you
have to
go.
be sports. It doesn't have to be strength training. It doesn't be anything. It's about watching someone grow to be more confident.
Yep.
And every area of their world gets shinier and brighter.
Yeah, I did a hike one time, which I think what opened my eyes to the idea of how capable, we are.
Yeah.
I hiked from Lake Superior to Lake Michigan through the woods. And my only rule was I couldn't go on a man-made trail any longer than it took me to cross it.
Okay.
So I just had to go through the raw woods,
bushwhacked,
topo map and compass, and had a bunch of maps. I plotted my course.
That's cool.
It was a wonderful trip because I've got a topo map and identify a ridge, a hill, a ravine, a creek, a pond, things I had to hit to know that I'm on course. And so every mile and a half or so, I'd hit one of my dots on my map, one
You're
of my
like, "I did
targets. Oh, I had so many kudos
I'm
throughout
not
the day. It
lost.
was
Yes.
like, man, you're awesome. Man, you're good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hit
Oh,
another
yeah.
one. And by the time I got done, I had this feeling of, holy crap, I can do so much. I didn't get lost once going, through the raw woods for like 60 miles or whatever from one shore to the next. And we need to get these tough challenges once in a while to realize what we can do. And then they, like you said, they do transcend to other parts of life.
And you're in nature, and I think there's a lot of power in that too. It's like being out in the woods,
I'm always
being out in
healthier
nature.
after a few days in the
But
woods.
we all are, even those who don't like bugs.
Okay.
It's like everybody, like we crave being outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something powerful about that.
Yeah.
For sure.
You had, I thought this was beautiful. You spent a lot of time with your mom. I loved the way you guys embraced life.
Thanks. Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything of that you'd like to share
You
with
just
us.
want to make me cry?
No, I'm sorry. It was so beautiful,
It
and
was
I
super
loved
beautiful.
the way you guys embraced life.
Yeah.
Getting dressed up and
Oh,
going to
ridiculous.
concerts and
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was when I said I paused saying that those 10 days in Tour Da Yoop were the hardest time I had lived or, challenges I had done. It had really just remotely began to prepare because I just felt more confident in myself when I did those 10 days, like doing a chunk of that solo, even though I knew I was never alone. And that's the truth in most things. Like we're never truly alone, even if we feel it. So I might've been out in the woods in the middle of nowhere, wondering what gravel road you sent me on,
Right.
but I knew I was never alone. I knew that you were always checking in. I knew I had other people checking in. And then I had days where I got to ride with people, and that was really powerful. And that human connection. And I talked about that being some of the hardest days collectively, but really the strength that I reminded myself during, because it's always been there, really prepared me for the next chapter, which was losing my incredible father to cancer. And then my mom was diagnosed the day after his celebration of life. It was like we entered in a Lifetime movie that no one wanted to be in.
Right.
My parents are and were incredible people. And when she was diagnosed, when my dad got really sick, I moved down to Ohio just to help, thinking it was just this chapter. And then when he passed, I had no regrets on being down there for the length of time that I was, in a couple of months. And then when my mom was diagnosed, I was like, well, time is so precious. And hers was terminal cancer as well. And so I knew it was a matter of time. We had months. And we didn't know how long it would be, and I knew not to waste it. And so I had promised my dad I would take care of her. That will make me cry. But I had promised him, he was just such an incredible man, incredible father and husband, and he didn't want to pass away because he didn't want to leave my mom. And she's the most independent woman I've ever known. But because she's in a chair, there are occasional things that he needed to do, and he was just so concerned, well, who would do them? And I promised him, Dad, you can rest. You can go with no regrets. We have you're an incredible man. I promise to take care of Mom, no matter what that looks like. And so when she was diagnosed, it was clear that I would move in because when you're in a chair, our facilities, our homes, they're not good. My mom has a master's in nursing, so she very much knew that if she went into one of those, she wouldn't last very long. And so I had always promised my mom and dad that would never happen.
Right.
And so I moved in with her, but we lived, and I got to help her live well. So it was all about every day adding some kind of shiny or sparkle to it, whether it was a walk outside. I'm a pro athlete, so I was still training. Just the training looked different, but I was still training. And so she would go on my easy runs with me, or power chair would go just fast enough. And the service dog hated it, but he went along, and we would do these runs around the neighborhood, or we'd go on trips like what you saw us do. And one of the nurses that was helping us as a part of our care team, she was adventurous like myself, and we would have a theme for every trip, and we would dress up. And my mom does not like to be the center of attention, but the nurse and I totally do. We don't care. And what we loved is that because my mom was in a chair and she had a service dog, anywhere we went, people would stare at her as though, we've never seen someone different than us.
Okay.
But when you're at a airport dressed as mermaids with colored hair, glitter bedazzled shoes, we had mermaid tights. No one stared at her anymore. They stared at us.
Right.
And we're like, see, Mom?
Yeah.
No one's looking at you. You can be incognito. And she was like, oh, I kind of love this.
Yeah.
We were mermaids. We went to Lion King. She really wanted to see Lion King. And we found it showing in California. So I got us bucket list tickets. I rewrote the song in Lion King to announce it to her on an anniversary of my dad's passing to make her smile, and presented this trip to her. And so when we flew to California, we were dressed as lions, like tutus, ears, ridiculous. But it made her laugh. It made other people laugh. We got to tell the story because people would come up and be like, why are you dressed like this? Yeah. And we're like, well, here's our mom, and she has terminal cancer, and we're helping her live well because why not?
Right.
And it was the most beautiful and most challenging chapter of my life when you're pouring into someone that you know is dying, like someone you love. And I just stopped racing during that time. I tried, it didn't work. So I just was like, racing's not gonna, I'm just gonna train. I'm gonna run my foundation from afar. I'm gonna coach from afar, and I'm gonna pour everything into my mom, because at the end of this, I won't get to, and I'll have no regrets.
Right.
And so she passed away about a year and a half later, and I have no regrets. Like, we lived so well. I went to the Pink concert. I'd have her list things that she'd like to do if she could. We got to see the cherry blossoms. And it's like when you watch someone see something with her maturity, knowing that it's probably for the last time on earth, you see a beauty you never thought you would. And sometimes people talk about that with like toddlers. You go on a walk with a toddler, and it's so slow because they're like, look at that leaf, look at the caterpillar, look at this ant. And you're like, oh my God, we're not going to make it to the house. But not that my mom was a toddler, but like when you're with someone, she recognized the beauty, like the beautifulness in that toddler is they're appreciating something that we might have stepped on. But my mom, at the same time, I have this vision of her in the Denver airport staring in the United Terminal at the mountains, and just her whole body just taking it in, because she knew it'd be the last time. Yeah. And it just made me see them differently too. Yeah. And it changed everything. But that's when I talk about, like, it's a gift. It's something we can do. We get to do this stuff. Right. That's, a lot of it where it comes from. Yeah. Because those are choices she and I chose to live well during that time. And I get to have no regrets helping both parents finish well. Yeah. That was the coach. I got to coach them in their death. And that was an honor. Yeah. Yeah. Hardest thing ever. Oh, yeah. But an honor.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Ryan, can you go grab something next? Sorry.
It's okay. I got fingers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And tears are natural. Like, it just shows how much I care. So I'm never afraid to cry. Just don't love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you guys had a special relationship, and it was inspiring, and it's wonderful to see. I'm glad you took the time and did it the way you did.
I did too, but I think what's important when we talk about a relationship is that people see only what we show them, right? What marketing shows.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan. Our family's story has a lot to do with forgiveness and strength and love, and it wasn't always easy. And, we had our own issues and depression and those kind of things. But my parents never stopped growing and never stopped trying to be better versions of themselves. Even when they're diagnosed with terminal cancer, they never used that as an excuse to give up on becoming better versions of who they are. Right. Yeah. And because of that, it helped my sister and I do this. Like, it sets the bar really high. My sister and I joke about it. Like, geez, the bar is high. Thanks, guys. Yeah. But it's beautiful because they set it high so that we obtain that too. So our family's story is that of like forgiveness and love, and what unconditional love really looks like. Those were choices we made. Those were never easy things to do. Yeah. Where do you go with that, James?
Yeah. It's easy to say unconditional love. It's another thing to really live it and
love
see
is
what
a
that
verb.
really looks like.
Yeah. It's one thing to say I'll always be there for you. It's one thing to say I'll take care of that person. Don't worry. It's very much a different thing to show up and be there in the storm. And I think what's important to note is that some people will look and say, well, that person's really strong. They'll look at me and they'll say, you're so strong. But the thing is, they're choices I made. I had no idea how to love a parent while they were dying. There was no course I took in college that said, this is what that looks like, or what grief looks like, or any of those things. And it's just a matter of being willing to try. It's a matter of just saying, I might not have any of the tools, but I'll use the ones I have. And then maybe I'll gain some as I go. Yeah. And so I chose to be in the fire with my parents, and that was like, I didn't know how to do that. It was so uncomfortable. It was so hard, but it was so worth it too. So I think that's what's important. We can choose to be those people.
You made a comment about recognizing things, seeing things, appreciating them.
Yeah.
Yeah. In 2010, I went blind in my right eye. Really freak thing. I got shingles on my retina and didn't look like shingles. It looked like pink eye. Took a little while to figure out what it was, and then bam, it's gone. And it scared the hell out of me. I didn't like the experience whatsoever.
No.
And I was afraid of being blind,
terrifying.
you know, and
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate that time. And I used to have a little notebook I'd keep with me, a little miniature pocket notebook. And I started writing down all the things I couldn't do because I'm now blind in one eye. And I would have dash marks that how many times during the day I could not do what I wanted to do. And on the other side of the page, I would have a dash mark of all the things that I still got to do. So you like 1, 2, 3, 4 cross, 1, 2, 3, 4 cross. So after like a week of keeping track, I'm looking at the 2 pages and I have like maybe 2 dashes over here, and this whole page is filled.
All the things
like
you
I
could
could
do.
still do everything I want to do. And then I came up with this motto to see more with one eye than I ever did with 2.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
from that time on, I've done more, seen more, appreciated more. And things like the tour wouldn't even exist if I hadn't gone blind in my right eye, because I wasn't in that frame of mind. I wouldn't have taken that on.
Yeah.
So I appreciated sunsets more, like all those things that
Yeah.
you take for granted.
Yeah. You saw things again.
And I would love to have 2 eyes again, but I would never want to have vision in my right eye for not having learned what I learned because of that experience.
Yeah. I mean, that's to me, that's everything. Like growing up with a mom in a chair, I never saw my mom walk. I never saw my mom stand.
How old were you?
I wasn't born yet. So they had me
okay.
5 years later or
Wow.
something, which was
Okay.
its own story of itself.
Oh, yeah.
So I've only known my mom to be in a chair.
Okay.
And I guess she never had to say it. She never said it. But just watching how she lived and her strength reminded me every day what a gift it is to walk, to run, to be. So I just don't take that for granted. So even though the hill repeats might hurt, or the course might hurt, or the biking, whatever it is, it's just knowing what a gift it is and knowing how quickly in the blink of an eye that changed for my mom makes me I just want to enjoy it. I want to take it in. And I think sometimes we don't have that perspective, but I grew up with that perspective because of who my mom chose to be.
I'm definitely learning in this conversation with you much more about what makes you tick. You see the beauty in you, and it's contagious. I didn't really realize how deeply that was rooted in your whole life.
Yeah, it's absolutely been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now what? Like, what's life like for you these days?
It's been a year of transitioning, so it's hard to answer that question because I'm figuring it out truly.
Okay.
Like, I gave so much I put a lot on hold, and again, no regrets for it, but I totally poured myself daily into this person, and just making sure every day was something special, and caregiving and doctors and all the stuff that, when she passed, I got to mourn both parents because I didn't mourn my dad. She was diagnosed so soon after. And so I didn't want to spend time grieving him when I knew that time with her was of the essence, essentially. So when she passed, and the realization that they were both gone was like hitting a finish line, that I just was like, oh my God, now who am I?
Yeah.
And so I'm spending the last year, like, I have my foundation and I'm coaching, and I actually will get to race again for the first time in December. Yeah,
Oh, cool.
I'm excited.
Where are you going?
California.
Okay.
And then I'll go to New Zealand in February to race as well.
Awesome. Which events?
I'll race a half Ironman in California, another half in New Zealand, and then I'll do my first Ironman distance race on my dad's birthday.
Oh, wow.
So that when I saw that was the date, I was like, that's where I want to be. I want to be at that race.
Wow.
I want my first race back. The Ironman
No
distance
kidding.
is my
What?
distance.
What's it?
Yeah.
What are the chances of it being on your...
I know. It'll be
Wow.
amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
It'll be really cool. So it's been training. It's been allowing to see like what grief my body held up so well in that year and a half with training and caregiving.
Yep.
But in the last year, I've had to kind of unravel some of like how it held up, but now it's time to emotionally and physically heal.
Okay.
And then in that process, I actually I started singing. So I figured at some point in time you'd ask me about this side
Yeah.
of it. But like I started singing a year ago, and I have no background in singing, but I love it. My mom would sing occasionally, just out. Like she could sing, but she never thought she could.
Right.
And we sang in like high school, but it was different, like choir stuff.
Yep.
I was really more the athlete than anything else. But I started, a friend of mine, after a couple of days after my mom passed, invited me to watch A Star Is Born. I'd never seen it before. And if you've seen the movie, the ending, for anyone listening, the ending is just not a movie you have someone watch when they just lost somebody,
Right.
like a key character dies.
Right, yeah.
And they forgot that part. And
Right.
I was like, oh,
Hey.
so are they going to die?
Yeah.
And then I'm crying even
Yeah.
more. But it's, it's about Lady Gaga. It's like, it's not about Lady Gaga, but
Right.
it's Lady Gaga and she's singing and it's
Right.
amazing. And I came home and I just started singing. And what I realized is that when I was sad, I could sing.
Mm-hmm.
And I would sing sometimes when my mom was I would go to the gym and sing. Essentially, they had a private gym where they lived, and but I recognized like I could, if I was sad, I could sing. Like training to me is my career, so it's not the same release of effort and or mental. But I could sing, and so I would get so sad because I was in charge of closing their house down and emptying everything out and all this stuff. And I'm in the house they both passed away in. So there are moments that you're like, this is so hard.
Yes.
And I would just start singing. And I sent a recording of it for fun to a friend who was massaging a singing coach in Michigan, Sally with Midcat Studios, and she was like, I'll take her.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, it's the best therapy I've ever done, honestly. And I just started singing. I lost a bet in February and sang open mic, and then I haven't stopped. So
Okay.
I did my first show in August, and now I'm actually like singing. Like I have someone who plays with me. We have now Carrie on acoustic.
Yep.
I have my first gig for 2026 now. Like actually paid gigs to sing.
Oh, wow.
And that is something
Yeah.
like you said, like I just never thought if you
Yeah.
had told me a year ago or even 2 years ago that would even be possible.
Yep.
But I used my singing performances as also to like tell a story
Mm-hmm.
and to empower the people that are there. I love public speaking and motivational speaking, and I kind of weave it all in
Okay.
to the presentation of,
So I've
Turns
heard.
out I can sing.
I've heard your voice. It's beautiful.
Thanks.
How scary was that to do it for the first time? Was it or not? Or did
You
it
know
feel
what?
natural?
In the last, no, because in the last year, something just clicked and changed. I think loving my parents the way how we did that chapter made me such a different version of myself that I have nothing to lose. Like, I don't care what people think anymore. And I did before. And that's why I'm excited to race again, because I used to race and I would care if people looked at my times, and because everyone always has an opinion.
Right.
And now I'm just like, you know what? I don't care.
Yeah.
I just did some really hard things,
Yeah.
and I just don't care what anyone thinks or what their vision is or, what their judgment is. They're not me.
Yep.
And so that freedom is powerful. So when I went up on stage, I was like, I got nothing to lose. Like, who cares? Like, if I bomb it, oh, well, it's just, they won't come to see me sing again, I guess. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I have more confidence in who I am and the choices I make. And that's changed a lot of things for me.
There's a couple of things I heard. One a long time ago when I was writing a book. The decision is, do you self-publish or do you go with a publisher?
Oh, yeah.
And where I was at in life, I decided to self-publish. And one of the best-known self-publishers, I can't even think of his last name. I think it's Dan Pointer, but I'm not sure. Maybe you can look up so I don't get it wrong. Self-publishing, Dan, probably Pointer. But he's got a quote in his book that says, don't die with a book still inside you. And that concept stayed with me, book or something
anything,
else.
Yeah.
And then another thing I heard once is this lady, her name was Edna, and I was visiting her out on the East Coast, and she liked to play the piano and do some music, and she really appreciated music. And she was telling me about a concert that she went to, and the young lady was playing the piano, I think. And when she's describing the concert, she said it was so wonderful for that person to share her gift with the rest of us. And those two things, I don't know why, they really resonated with me.
Yeah.
One is that we all have a little bit of dreams that maybe they're,
Yeah.
writing a book, singing a song in front of people, or doing whatever.
Yeah.
But don't die with that still inside you.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That really resonated. I love that
does.
expression.
Yeah.
you got something, go give it a shot. You
And
know?
why not?
Yeah.
Like, we all have these giftings.
Get it out of
and
you.
People enjoy
Yeah,
it.
try it.
Yeah. You find
for
like you enjoy it.
For you, even. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be for the.
I love
general
singing.
public,
Like,
yeah.
I go up there and perform. All the songs I sing are ones I feel passionately about. So why not?
Yeah.
I don't want to. Life is too short, and I don't want to die with things, like you said, inside
Right.
of you that
Yeah.
you never got to give, but you could have.
Right.
So we all have choices, and
Yeah.
that's the choice I make.
And I love the idea of that she appreciated that this young lady shared her gift with the rest of us.
Yes. Yes.
And whatever that gift is. So some
Yeah.
people might be I'm more of an introverted person. You're not going to find me up there dancing like crazy on stage or something like that. So some people's gift would be quieter. Some people's
Yeah.
gift would be louder. Some would be physical. Some would
Yeah.
be vocal.
Yeah.
You know, but we all have
Some
a
of them
gift
are
to
behind
share.
the scenes, you
and
know?
and
Yeah.
I love the beauty in recognizing whatever it is that gift is. Not what you think it is or what it should be, but whatever that gift is that they're sharing and appreciating that. I just love that attitude.
Yeah, I love that too. You're helping see people feel seen and appreciating what they bring to the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you find that guy's name? Is it?
It is Dan Pointer's.
It is Pointer, yeah.
self-publishing manual.
Yep.
Good job. You
It's
remember
like the
that.
Bible for self-publishers, but that was like in 2007. It's almost 20 years ago. But yeah. But that when I read his book, that comment stuck with me. That was really awesome. I'm definitely going to finish this damn book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's helpful because I've started writing songs too, and so like I write them as like journal things, but I've
Yeah.
written like 4 songs now, and it's the same concept. It's like I want to get them out, and why not?
Yeah.
If anything, it's for me.
You have any other things you'd like to share about coaching, some of your experiences or some of the motivation that you share with people?
I think one of the motivations that I've learned over the last year and grown as a coach too, and is just when you are, it's more for coaches, but when you see people's potential, you want to help them reach it. And sometimes you realize that you're more invested in it than they are.
Okay.
And so I've had to learn as a coach sometimes, like I can't care more than them. And their response to whatever it is doesn't reflect necessarily how good you are as a coach.
Okay.
You can be the most motivating, encouraging, inspiring. You can have the greatest plan, but that person still has to use those tools. Like my grandparents would say, like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Right.
And I'm someone who's like, I will make everyone drink.
You're gonna
Like,
drink this.
You're gonna drink this because it's like, oh, I see your potential. I
Yeah.
see the passion. Oh my gosh, you have it. And like you believe in them so much more sometimes than they believe in themselves.
Yep.
And sometimes that's powerful. It's always powerful, but sometimes it's powerful enough to get the person to like, they will drink, they will try, and then you get to see it grow, and it's incredible. But sometimes people they're just afraid, and they get in their own way. And it doesn't matter who you are, they just won't do it. And so when it comes to working, I just realized like I want to be the best reflection of myself. So I want to be the best coach I can be. That doesn't mean everybody does it. And it's the same thing in how we present ourselves, like in text messages and calls and emails and those things. It's like I can spend the most time responding in a way that reflects kindness, professionalism and love. That doesn't always mean that person's going to reflect it back. And as a coach, it's really easy to take it personally. And I've learned how to not to be like, okay, I was loving, I was kind, I was spot on. And if I'm not, I'm going to apologize for it. But
Okay.
if I am, I'm going to be these things, but it doesn't
Yeah.
mean everyone jumps to it. And I think if you're running a business, when you're running a business or you're a coach, giving yourself that kind of freedom is powerful because it's easy to get burnout in that industry when you see people not achieve something that you know they could. And you kind of know the whys, but you can't seem to get them over it. And it's easy to take it really personally. And the freedom is just allowing that person to come to it themselves.
They could have.
And it's okay.
Sometimes they have their own clock, and
Yeah,
like
they
I
have
had
their
to
own
lose
clock
my
and their
eye.
own-
Why did I have to get my ass
I know,
kicked
you're
like
like,
that
why?
in order for my life to change? You know, like come on, am I that stubborn?
Yeah.
But we have our. I mean, you see something, but
Yeah.
it's not their time yet for whatever
It's not
reason.
their time. And you might just be a chapter in their journey, or you might, whatever it is, it's just, I used to just take things so much more personally. And I recognized, but then I was getting burnt out because I'm like, whoa, they didn't reach it. It must be me. And sometimes it is a you. Like you gotta improve and be better. But a lot of times it's allowing people to come and do it themselves. And you give them the tools and you give them your gifts, right? You share your gifts and then you allow them to take it as it is. And that gives you the freedom to enjoy the journey as a coach and keep moving forward regardless of the outcomes.
Have you found things that are useful and like if somebody's not ready to embrace maybe their potential yet or whatever obstacle is, you know, that they can't get over at the moment? Have you found tools or things that are helpful to like maybe plant some very productive seeds and give them the encouragement so that when it is their time, they'll have that to call back?
Yes. It's not one they like ever, but I mean, none of us like it really in the moment. It's really helping someone take ownership.
Okay.
You know, sometimes, at least I think because I like to lean on the more positive side, it's easy to candy coat something and just be like, well, you can do it someday or you'll get it sometime. But if you're a good coach, it's really looking and saying, well, let's look at the why. What is holding you back? And it's not judging the person in it. So let's use an example of someone, an adult, just not eating very much during the day. And you don't judge them. Maybe they're a doctor. They're on their feet for 12 hours. But what you do is help them kind of understand the connection between the two.
Okay.
Well, if I'm not eating enough, then I'm not getting enough energy, and that means I'm not motivated to move my body. And that is powerful because then they know the why without judgment.
Right.
But it's the why. So helping people own the choices that they make and the impacts those choices have, I think is the most powerful thing to do as a coach. So maybe we're not ready for that Tour Da Yoop, but let's talk about why.
Right.
And what could we own so that we can build it later? Instead of just saying, well, you'll get it someday.
Right. Recognize the conscious decision that's being made, even though they don't see it as a conscious decision, but be able to...
But helping them recognize that it's a conscious decision.
Exists.
Like you talked about choices early on, and it's just really recognizing those are choices they're making, because very rarely have I ever coached someone that doesn't have the choice. They normally all have the choice. And the ones who think they don't are the ones who have a lot more choices.
Yeah.
They're just not willing to own them. So it's really helping people own what's in front of them. And that gives them power. It's just not a popular one sometimes, but it's the one that makes the greatest change.
Yep. Do you see people that think they just don't have it to do this? For just as an example, a lot of times you see somebody that's reached some level of success that's interesting to you. It could be in work, it could be in business, it could be in life, it could be in money, it could be in physical, it could be anything.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh my, you know, I just don't, you know, they're born, you know, you think they're born with that. It was given to them, whatever. You don't realize what they did to then accomplish that thing.
Yes.
And then once in a while we get to see a documentary or something like, holy crap, they didn't have that the whole time.
Yes. Yeah. The people who, like, even if I say myself, like, okay, I would like to be this successful as a pro, I can look and say, in order to be that successful as a pro, let's look at facts, right? I need to do X, Y, and Z. Well, I'm making a choice to not do X, Y, and Z. I want to run a foundation instead.
Right.
I want to do these things instead, so that my full-time job is not being a pro.
Right.
I want to be a pro, and I want to do these things.
Right.
Now, that might very well mean that I never reach the certain success ladder of somebody else as a professional athlete, but those are choices I'm willing to make.
Yep.
So anytime I see someone that says, well, they were just born with it, that person truly hasn't acknowledged the ownership. One, they have no clue what it took for that person to get there.
Right.
But really in their own lives, they're not willing to acknowledge all the choices they truly have. And I work with that because a lot of my athletes, we're all getting older. That's a gift. Every year we get to live is a gift. And so people are getting older and they're like, well, because I'm getting older, this is why I can't do these things.
Right.
And I'm like, well, let's look at your nutrition. Let's look at your hydration. Let's look at what your sleep is. Let's look at the things that you might not be owning.
Yeah.
And it's amazing the impact those make. It's not the getting older. It's what we just choose not to take ownership of.
Right.
Yeah. There's so much power in that.
In a crazy way, I'm 53 now, and I can
You've made it.
physically do more
Yeah.
than I could do when I was in high school.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But you take care of your body more. I always talk about as we grow older, we have to be smarter. You have to be a smarter athlete. So people are like, man, I got away with this when I was 24. I'm like, but
Right.
you still weren't performing
Right,
at your
I
best
know,
at
yeah.
24.
Yeah.
You just got away with that.
Right.
But like now that you're 50, look, what can you do now? And
Right.
yeah, it's don't let age hold you back.
Right.
You just have to be smarter with it.
Speaking of that, we just interviewed Kevin Liberacki the other day. He's 59, turning 60, and he just won the 48-mile bike ride. I forget what it's called. Some crazy bike ride.
Yeah.
Where you see how many miles you can do in 48 hours, and he did like 720 something or something like that. Beat the previous record by 50 miles.
Wow.
59 years old.
Wow. 59 years young.
Pretty
Yeah.
amazing, yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's impressive. That's so impressive.
I know.
Whew.
No, I mean, I see stuff with the tour. There's all ages, men,
Yeah.
women,
Yeah.
all different body shapes and types,
Yeah.
and people do some pretty amazing things.
Yeah, and they all have different amazing backgrounds. I
Yep.
mean, that's the part of the tour that brings people together is it's just you have people of all different backgrounds and abilities, but the mind is stronger than the body a lot of
Yep.
times. And our bodies are really strong. We just have
Yep.
to give it the opportunity.
Yeah, they do need a little bit of the mind to
The
get
mind
them
is
over
alive,
to
yes.
get them over
the-
the tipping point.
I think in order for our bodies to be really strong, it's our mind that wills it past. I mean, there's all the science that backs that up. So
Yeah.
for sure, positive thinking carries us over mountains.
I've got one more question along the same lines,
Okay.
but before I ask you that, is there anything else that you wanted to share?
No, I think
Okay.
we covered quite a bit.
Final question. The name of this podcast is
Wealth is a choice. Boom.
and wealth. When it comes to like my financial planning firm, you're going to associate it with money.
Yeah.
But wealth means a lot of things. There's, abundance basically
Yeah.
of love and relationship, of people, of community, of organization, of health, of physical prowess, or of money or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things. Spiritual. Do you think that wealth is a choice?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's I mean, for me, it's an easy answer to make. You think of all the things we talked about today. I use the word we get to and choice over and over again. And think how we live our lives. A lot of times, how well we live our lives, how it's filled with wealth. Because you're right, wealth defines so many things.
Right.
How we look back and say we lived well is all the choices that we make. 100%.
Yeah. Well, I see you live it that way, and you've made my life much wealthier. I'm glad you reached out all those years ago and said, hey, I think I'd
who
like to do this
knew?
thing, but I can't make it on the same day.
Yeah.
It's been a real pleasure to know you over the years. And
Same.
love you, Carrie, and I hope I get to ride my bike with you again
Yes,
someday.
well, you said the 10-year anniversary, and so I made note of that. Like, okay, that
might
would be
be
really
a good one.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I appreciate this time. Thank you for letting me share my story too.
Thanks, Carrie.
Ta-da!